Hello, this is Joshua for Frost Dragon Designs, and today I'd like to talk to you about my Living Artificer design for Black Cat RPG Series 5, the Lichgate. Now, let's get into the design. So what is an artificer? Well, I mean, it can be a lot of things in fantasy settings, but typically these are people who are inventors, something akin to a scientist mixed in with some magic typically. So they make robots, they do potions, they do machines. Sometimes it's, firearms, sometimes it's crossbows. Sometimes it's just strange, magically imbued mechanical devices that they've come up with. These are like really fun and smart people, interesting characters to play. A lot of times people can get upset with them because they don't, quote, fit the setting, unquote. Having said all that, I like artificers. Alright, so the Living Artificer for Series 5. Okay, so there's a kind of a weird story with this one. First off, artificers are, for my pin collections, typically one of the least popular designs. I don't think that has anything to do with the popularity of artificers as a player class in D&D and other tabletop games. I think what it is that they are less generic fantasy in the way that they look. A lot of people who buy my pins aren't necessarily gamers. They just like fantasy things or the fantasy aesthetic or that sort of thing. And artificers kind of occupy this weird space between, normal, what we consider, standard fantasy settings and technology creeping in. And a lot of people don't like that. And I think that's just why the Artificer pin designs are generally one of the less popular designs in any given campaign. And so originally I was just like, you know what, maybe I'm not going to do like a normal TTRPG Artificer this time. And then I got the idea of doing the mech suit designs, the ones that kind of look like, a certain franchise that really hates fan art. Although, to be truthful, they were really more inspired by StarCraft, and the Angels in Diablo. But anyway, so I designed those, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I like these a lot, but I feel like I really do need to do something that's more along the lines of a standard artificer, which is hilarious because I didn't end up doing a standard fantasy artificer. I ended up with, this cowgirl cat, I guess, who's riding a robot chicken. Now, in my defense, I'm going to say that the robot chicken would be like the D&D equivalent of a steel defender, which is kind of like a construct robot that an artificer has made to be their battle companion. And that's all well and good for, trying to align with some game mechanics for this particular character. But, really what happened was, I did the mech suits and I was like, you know what, that's a bridge too far. Let me do something that's a little closer to home. And I ended up doing something that's not really close to home because it's a Western-themed cowgirl cat riding a robot chicken. And I will not apologize for it because I really enjoy both of these artificer designs. I think they're really fun. You probably saw a couple seconds ago, I did give her a sword and shield at one point early on, but I was just like, you know what? No, let's just go the whole Western-themed thing and have fun with it. And I mean, sometimes that's really what it comes down to. It's not about what I think is going to sell well. It's just what I think is going to be fun to design. And then I just kind of hope that someone else out there is going to like it. Now, I mean, something that's interesting about the Artificer designs for Series 5 compared to all the other Series 5 designs, though, is that I did the Living Artificer first. For most of them, I did the undead versions of them first. And that was because I originally was only going to do the undead kitties for a campaign. But with this one, because I had decided so late in the planning process to not have the mech suit designs be the artificer, I was just like, well, maybe I should do something else. Let's do the living one first. Let's just try it out and see how it works. So this I think is probably the only class for Series 5 where I designed the living version of it and then adapted that to an undead version. Well, there may have been another one. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and check my videos. I bounce around in the designs a lot when I'm working on these big projects, but I'm pretty sure this is the only one. An interesting design choice at the very end. Decided to swap out the gun for the lasso. I think that's a really fun choice as well. And overall, I think this is just a really fun an out there pin design. Cowgirl cat riding robot chicken. She's got a lasso. I can't wait to see these in person. I think they're going to be really fun, and I'm really looking forward to this. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed watching me design this pin. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about some of the things I was thinking about while working on it. If you did, go ahead, like and subscribe. I try to release at least one new video each week, sometimes two. And I'd love to have you along for the next one. So thank you again so much for your time, and have a great rest of your day.